Hey, I'm Jackie, and as families go, mine has always been on the strange side. On the surface, we seemed normal enough, only in reality, we were far from a normal family. For starters, I've never, ever had a conversation with my sister Mina. You see, when she was 6, she had an accident where she suffered a brain injury which left her unable to speak. I was only a baby at the time. Mom said she used to be a hyperactive, cute girl who suddenly lost it all. So she became reserved and uncommunicative in character. My mom is very absent-minded, and even when she's in the room, it's like she's really somewhere else. As for my father, he's rough, hot-tempered, and rude. To him, business always comes first. He works all over the world for months at a time and only returns home 2 to 3 times a year. I dread him coming back, as he has a massive problem with me. It's like he can't even bear to be in the same room as me. I grew up believing that my father truly hated me, but I had no idea as to why. Mina couldn't bear to be around him too. In fact, she barely surfaced at all when he was back. I didn't fully blame her, as Dad treated her like she didn't exist, which I presumed was because she couldn't talk. My father barely spoke to Mom either, and whenever he came home, he made Mom sleep in the spare room. She told me it was because she snored, but I'd slept with Mom until I was 5, and I'd never heard her snore once. Even though my father was horrible to my mother, she wouldn't have a bad word against him. I once made the mistake of telling her I didn't like Dad, and she got really upset, telling me that she couldn't believe that I was such an ungrateful kid, while he was doing his best for all of us, and his sacrifice was beyond what we've ever seen. I always thought there was more going on that I didn't know about. It was true that I couldn't see any of his sacrifice or the burden he was carrying. All I saw was him making my mom suffer. One time, when he was back after months of working away, he seemed extra awful. When Mina refused to join us for dinner, Dad took her plate and stormed upstairs. He was gone for at least 15 minutes, then returned with her plate of uneaten food and put the whole thing in the trash, then said to Mom, "You caused this." How could my mom ever have caused his rude behavior? The next morning, when I was about to go to school, I saw him grip Mom's wrist, snatch her phone out of her hand, and then he said, "You deserve this," before he threw her phone onto the floor. Mom recognized me standing in the corner and rushed to me saying, "It's okay, honey. Just have a great day at school." But I couldn't have a great day away when she was alone with my violent dad. I could barely study and came home early to see my mom sitting on the kitchen floor around messed up furniture. Then I heard my father swear before he threw a plate at my mom. It only just missed hitting her. I ran towards my mom and screamed at him to stop. He shoved me out of the way, then he picked up a stool and brought it up above my mother. There was a shrill scream. "Stop it now!" Both Mom and Dad looked shocked. It was my sister. She was standing in the doorway. She was so angry that her lips were quivering and her whole body shook. She was holding her phone. Then she said, "The cops are coming!" Dad stormed over to her, the stool still grasped in his hand. Mom and I both screamed out for him to stop. Suddenly, the police siren rang, which caused my father to drop the stool. His voice, full of hatred, he said to Mom, "This is your fault. All yours." My father ran away. My sister and I rushed to our mom. We all hugged each other and cried. As relieved as I was that we were all okay, I was also extremely confused. My sister confessed that she had never lost her ability to talk. When she was 6, she witnessed Dad beating Mom and tried to stop him, but he pushed her away, which caused her to bash her head. When she woke up in the hospital, Dad was sitting beside her. He told my sister that if she didn't stop talking and act like she couldn't remember what happened, he'd kill both Mom and me. Mina was so terrified that she did as she asked, and she kept it up for 12 years. Then Mom burst into tears hearing that. She said she was so sorry that it was all her fault. My sister and I were so confused about that. We both saw that my dad was the cruel one here, but he always said something about my mom's faults, and she even admitted it all the time. She then confessed that there was more to the story. In the past, my father was a gentle person, but he often worked away from home. Sometimes she didn't hear a thing from him for a year. Feeling lonely, she made a mistake and had an affair with one of his friends. Then she fell pregnant with him and had me. The time my sister's injury happened was the day he returned home to find out I wasn't his. My mom felt so guilty that she stayed with him for all these years, even though he no longer showed her any respect or affection. My mom had wrapped us up in her lies, which caused Mina to be so terrified she missed out on her entire childhood, and I grew up believing the man I thought was my father hated me. After that, Mina and I moved in with our grandparents. I haven't talked to Mom normally since. I'm not sure if I can ever forgive her for all the secrets. As for my father, the police haven't found him yet, so he's still out there somewhere. I'm trying to see the positives. It's great finally being able to have a conversation with Mina, and it feels good to be away from the intense home life I used to be a part of. But what Mom did hurts. And there's a stranger out there somewhere that's my biological father, and I have no idea who he is. Secrets wrecked my family. And now, I don't know what I'm meant to do next.